Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your regular injection of strange, bizarre, odd, weird news, locally sourced and around the world. My name is Alex, and joining us as always for episode 417 now is Rob. How are you, Rob?
Hello! Hi, folks. That's about as much energy as I can muster today.
I thought I was watching This Morning there. You sounded like a kind of typical ITV presenter giving all... That was good energy, Rob. I would like it if you could bring more of that to the show, really.
I'll be honest, I've used up my quota for this week, so now the rest of it is going to be me just downbeat. So, how are you doing, Alex?
Well, look, we're recording at the moment, sort of mid to late November-ish time. And I'll be honest, at this stage in my life, with the weather being how it is, coming out of having a really quite horrendous flu, the really last thing I needed in my life was ham-faced David Cameron returning to frontline politics. Do you know what I mean? You think you're rid of somebody, you never have to see them again, and then they pop up, and he is so happy. You can see. I mean, he is beaming, Rob. And do you know what's great for him? Hey, I'm Foreign Secretary, but I also happen to be a Lord, so I don't have to turn up to the House of Commons. I don't have to answer questions from MPs. I don't even have to be present at Prime Minister's questions.
Yeah.
I can just be this sort of roving, floating Foreign Secretary. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. It's like when you bump into an ex, and you really part of you wants to know they're not doing too well. You want to think that you're doing better after the relationship's broken up. But then you bump into them and they're doing really well. They've got a new boyfriend, they're engaged. It's like, oh, God, really? I did enjoy someone on Twitter just posted Lord Pigfucker has returned, which I quite enjoyed. I did also see that. But
he is ham-faced.
He is ham-faced.
I mean, his face looks like his very punchable face, and his cheeks look like gammon.
The trouble is, I would still take James Cleverly over Suella Braverman or how the fuck you say it.
Yeah, of course you
can go fuck yourself. Because that's where we're at with the Toy Party. We're basically taking the lesser of two evils. I'm very much enjoying watching the Toy Party go into absolute meltdown in the coming months, because I think that's where we're at. If I sound exhausted, it's because I am just with life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is there any news, Rob, before we get on to the joy of this podcast?
No. Let's crack on with those funny stories.
Okay. Listen, Rob, let's go to the Cornwall Live.
Lovely.
By Daniel Clark. This is, as we sort of approach Christmas, I don't know, there's something about this story and the enduring image of it. I don't know, I don't know, Rob. Maybe it's symbolic.
Okay. Oh, God.
Headline. Cornwall whale post-mortem carried to find out why it died.
Right.
Now, this is a follow-up story to a previous story the Cornwall Live had published, because basically a huge mammal, a whale, was found dead on Fistral Beach in Newquay on Wednesday morning, November 15th. Now, I'm looking at an aerial shot. I don't know, how could I... Okay, hang on a minute, let me just try and work it out. Does it even say how long? I'm just looking at the length of it. Well,
Alex...
Hang on.
As we know, look, the two units of measurements are double-decker buses or football pitches. So if you can give us
two double-decker buses, parked alongside each other then.
Right, okay.
It's huge. It's lying on a Newquay beach. And the original headline, which they've changed, was, which is unfortunate, is that chainsaws have been taken to the whale. Well, that's been removed. But,
right.
But that was kind of why I clicked on the story. But basically, a post...
Sorry, Alex, can I just double check something? You preface the story by saying that there was slightly something Christmassy themed about this. Now, I know you're not a fan of Christmas.
No, I didn't say that. I said with Christmas coming up, I didn't know if this was symbolic. There's just something about the image. Oh, look, let me just get to the story.
Okay.
A post-mortem on the carcass of a huge whale, which was found washed up on a beach in Cornwall, has been carried out as investigations into its death continue. It's been identified as a fin whale, the second largest in the world. Okay, 54 feet. Okay, Is that 2 buses? Can you work that out? How many feet? Come on, let's see. Let's see, Rob. How many feet is a double-decker bus in length?
Hang on.
Let's do this live on air.
So a double-decker bus, it does depend on the bus, but on average, they're between 39 and 46 feet.
So I was way off. So that was bad then. Really?
Oh, hang on. Sorry, Alec. There's an update. That's from Wrightbus, but this is based on your traditional route master, which is what we're looking for.
That's what I meant.
So it is 61 foot apparent length of a route master.
What? But I'm looking at this picture. There's no way a bus is longer than. Okay, well, anyway. All right, so all right.
What a sentence! There's no way a bus is longer than a while.
Ron Barber from Newquay Activity Centre. That sounds suspicious. That place, not so Newquay Activity Centre. Saw the deceased whale completing a routine ocean. He saw the deceased whale while completing a routine ocean conditions check. I'm sorry. Nobody could have not seen this whale, right? It's not okay. Local agents.
It's not like something you're going to miss if you're on the beach.
Local agencies are now working out what the next step is for the whale. Well, it's dead. I mean, do you know what I mean? Whether it be left to be naturally taken back into the ocean, Rob, or removed. The dead whale has been being cut up with chainsaws, not for disposal, but for pathology tests.
Lovely.
To be carried out to help identify the cause of its death. The reason I was really talking about this story, Rob, was just the image of, a family going out on a walk as we approach Christmas, trying to get into the spirit, a chilly winter's walk, and seeing people hacking up a dead whale with a chainsaw. I mean, that would stay with you.
Yeah, that's going to put you off your Christmas meal, I'll be honest.
Yeah. So according...
Especially if you're having fish.
Well, exactly.
I know, and before we start, can I just say, I'm going to make it absolutely clear, yes, I know a whale is a mammal and it's not a fish, it was a joke.
But it is a fish, though, isn't it? It swims in the sea.
I mean, effectively, it looks like a big fish.
It looks like a big fish.
Yeah.
Why is it a mammal again?
I think it's something to do with hair. I think whales have hair.
Is that it? I don't think that's it.
Do whales have hair?
I don't think, Rob, this is this is where we humiliate ourselves. Why is a whale a mammal?
Someone's asking, do whales eat humans? That's good to know. Do whales have teeth?
They have inner bones and hair.
There you go.
And they breathe air. And their females produce milk through mammary glands and suckle their young. Do they? Didn't know whales had teats.
Oh, well, not even that. Are we saying whales have breasts?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Whale breasts, Rob.
That's something to think about later.
But the point is, Rob, just to finish, on Wednesday, a volunteer at Cornwall Wildlife Trust said that the mammal had, in quotes, a high risk of blowing up and that it would be very gassy and messy. So at any stage, Rob, this thing could just, you're going for your little Christmas walk along the beach. This thing could blow up with whale shit and whale gas. And because in the picture, by the way, its intestines are just sort of lying out on the beach.
Yeah. I mean, there is quite an infamous video, which I have to admit I've never seen, but I've heard about it, talked about. We may have even talked about it on this podcast, whether a whale was beached somewhere in the US, and the mayor of the town had this bright idea of basically blowing it up. So basically surrounded it with quite a significant amount of dynamite, and it was all filmed by there's a TV crew. And at no point did they think, actually, if we blow stuff up, it's very difficult to try and contain the debris. And they literally just it was just a video of townsfolk being splattered with whale remains.
Yeah, that sounds lovely, Rob. I just want to highlight one. I mean, there is one sort of rather racist comment about Chinese and Japanese people on this article for some reason, to do with whale meat and stuff like that. But there is another one, Rob, which a more innocent comment, which simply says, "I was down at Newquay and I heard a chorus of whale meat again. Don't know where, don't know when." Yeah,
it doesn't really work because. It was a different song. I was thinking about bluebirds flying over the cliffs of Dover. That's
nothing to do with it.
So no, not in the slightest.
Now look, Rob. Again, so that was kind of toilet themed, flatulence themed, or arse themed in a way because we're talking about a whale blowing up and spreading its gas and crap everywhere.
Yep.
Let's go to Wales Online. God, there are 143 comments on this story, Rob.
Love it.
It's by Neil Shaw, who's their network content editor, in brackets, live and trends, close brackets. It's from the 13th of November. It's a brilliant story, Rob. A local anaesthetic, local news, classic, surely. Nudist asked to leave Wetherspoons after bending for a poppadom.
What a superb headline.
Can I say, bending for a poppadom, it's just a good phrase and feels like it could be the episode title.
Yeah, I think it could be.
Are you bending for a poppadom there, mate?
I mean, you can see it. I'm not going to make that joke. Okay, I need to know more, Alex. What happened here?
So, a nudist has slammed Wetherspoon. Do you know, I always say Wetherspoons, but it's actually Wetherspoon, which I didn't know.
Yeah, I think everyone says it's the collective now. It's like people who say Tesco's. It's Tesco.
Yeah, so where did that come from? All right, Rob, where did that come from?
Well, I think it's just people just assume because they think about the collective not the collective pronoun, the collective. What is it if you? Oh God, brain. What is it if you have more than one, Alex?
No, I get that plural. I get that. Listen,
plural. Thank you.
No,
yeah.
I get that, but it's not. But look, what I'm saying is people don't say Waitroses, right? But they do say Sainsbury's, which is correct. So maybe there's that confusion. So it's Sainsbury's. Yes. It should be Tesco's, but they don't say Asda's. But I feel like this is something.
No.
Look, Rob. This is something which started in the north and filtered down. It has to be Tesco's. Tesco's. That's where it came from.
And also, I mean, as we said before, Morrison's is a northern brand, and again, I think it's got the apostrophe. It's Morrison's. You know, there's more than one.
For any of our international listeners, Britain is kind of divided up into north and south, and whereas in the south we have a range of different supermarkets, in the north, almost every area is populated by not just one, sometimes many of them, but a grocery shop called Morrison's.
That's correct. I mean, they have infiltrated the south as well, I would like to say, but
yeah, they have. But listen, right, a nudist has slammed Wetherspoon for trying to bar him out of accidentally exposing his bum in front of a young customer when he bent over for a poppadom. Was the poppadom on the floor? I'm confused.
Well, this is. Sorry, have Wetherspoons taking? Is there now a new policy where they think so little of the customer they just throw the food directly on the floor and expect them to eat like a dog? I mean, it's a possibility.
I was drinking as you said that, Rob. Richard Collins says he usually goes around naked, but has donned a sweatshirt, hoodie, and a short suede skirt with no underwear on for when he went.
Sorry, hang on. Oh God!
Just to describe this man, Rob, he's in his late 60s. He's got one of those full beards that looks like it has cornflakes stuck in it, and he likes walking around in the buff. Anyway, do you want to say something, Rob?
Why the skirt? Why not just put a baggy pair of shorts on?
Because he wanted to wear a sweat. Look, Rob, he donned a sweatshirt, hoodie. Sorry, a sweatshirt and a hoodie. Okay. That's two, by the way.
That's even more bizarre. Why would you put both on? Put one or the other.
And a short suede skirt with no underwear on when he went for dinner at his local Wetherspoon. Let's continue with the detail, Rob. After ordering a chicken tikka curry at the bar, the 67-year-old said he noticed a poppadom on his seat before bending over to, in quotes, flick it off. Not a euphemism. Will you flick off my poppadom?
I mean, from what you've told me about this man, I don't think anyone's willing to do that. Sorry, I don't understand. Was it? I'm assuming was he standing at a table and he was bending over to eat?
Exactly. He's an exhibitionist, isn't he, Rob? Look, he says, I ordered my chicken tikka curry, so he walks over to his table, presumably, and then he sees there's a poppadom lying on the seat, and so he bends over to flick it off, claiming he did not know a mother and her teenage daughter were sitting behind. Richard, who said he's been visiting the John Logie Bear pub 4 times a week for 10 years. That's a lot. That's an issue, isn't it? That's worrying. Naked.
It's like when we used to. Well, obviously, Alex apparently does it. Apparently, dresses up for the occasion. But I mean, just imagine how bleak your life is that you're dressing up to go to Wetherspoons.
Well, I'm not sure you can constitute this as dressing up, Rob, but I take your point.
Well, putting clothes on.
Right, so He blames the mother and the daughter for looking up his skirt, in quotes, and said they should... and said, in quotes, they should avert their eyes if they don't like the sight. The founder of Naturist UK has been a nudist for 40 years, so that's you know, he's the founder, Rob, of it. He says it was ridiculous that the manager asked him to leave for bending over with no underwear on. Is he listening to himself? Is he listening to... He's saying it's ridiculous that he should be asked to leave an establishment for bending over with no underwear on. In what other walk of life would anybody be able to say that? It's called public... What's it called, Rob? You used to be a copper. Public indecency. Yeah.
There is something
what
about
you were
the story
charged
this
with?
is very, very British. No, that was a different charge. The fact this man is blaming this innocent mother and daughter for casually glancing around and seeing his saggy arsehole. I mean, this is unacceptable.
He blamed the mum and daughter, claiming, in quotes, if you or your child look up someone's skirt, then don't complain if you don't like what you see. Avert your eyes. The incident has spurred Richard to campaign for naturist rights, Rob, to be formally recognised
fuck off.
in legislation so that he and fellow nudists can walk into any pub naked and get served. No, we don't want that, mate. Richard shared the story to a Facebook group with more than 5,000 members, claiming the order, in quotes, spoiled an otherwise lovely day of naked cycling, sunbathing and swimming. Can I just say, episode title, spoiling an otherwise lovely day of naked cycling, sunbathing and swimming is maybe the episode title. I love that it's the spoiling an otherwise lovely day.
Alex, just imagine if you were the poor customer who was completely unaware that prior to you sitting down to enjoy a nice meal, there was a man, a naturist wearing a skirt whose sweaty ball bag had been on the chair you're now sitting on. Apparently exposed arsehole as well.
Look, Rob, that is the best you can hope for in a Weatherspoon. Now they're calling it Weatherspoons. Weatherspoons, because I guess it's the company now, said they'll all ask customers to dress appropriately and more specifically in a way which would not cause offence to employees or other customers. They stood by the branch's decision and said the pub's management quite rightly didn't think Richard was dressed appropriately. Richard said, in quote, I was quite unhappy being asked to leave. I thought it was a bit extreme. The manager could have just said, we just had a complaint, mate. Could you be a bit more careful and not bend over? When I got my dinner, I was sitting there quite upset and anxious, but I wasn't going to make a big scene. I don't want to get banned. It's one of the places I eat regularly. I was going to say to the manager that it's not nice to be discriminated against. I was wearing a skirt, which is not that short, so when I'm walking around, normally I'm properly covered. It's only the fact I bent over. And I'm not sure how far I bent over. I thought about picking the seat up and tipping the poppadom off, but it was easier to bend over and flick it. I didn't even think about what I might be showing by bending over or who might be sitting behind. I'd just like to say that to me it represents everything wrong, Rob, with the British public, that he thought that the best action of seeing a poppadom on a seat, which by the way, why is there a poppadom on the seat? But it's just to flick it off onto the floor. Oh right, let's just flick things. Let's not clean up. No, you could have picked it up, taken it to the bar and said, here's a loose poppadom, mate, can you get rid of it? Sorry.
Yeah, they would have picked it up and put it on another customer's plate to serve later on. That might be slander. I might just say that I'm not saying
that's a joke, isn't it, Rob? Listen, Rob,
it is, yes.
I've got my kind of list of things to go through here, which may have to be jettisoned because this story is going on and it seems to be the gift that keeps giving, so we need to continue it, Rob. Okay?
Okay.
Richard claims the, in quotes, what he describes as the agitated mother of a teen girl spoke to a staff member at the bar before a manager asked him to leave for, in quotes, not wearing any underwear and bending over. Richard added, a minute later the manager appeared, a young woman, and said, it appears you're not wearing any underwear, and the child on the table behind saw when you bent over. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I replied, I never wear any underwear, but I don't make a habit of bending over. There was something on the seat. And I asked if I could move.
That's not a defence.
No, I never wear any underwear. I know, it's brilliant. I asked if I could move and sit somewhere else as I'd already ordered and paid for my food. I thought it was ridiculous. I was told I could have a refund, but when I repeated about moving and that I was hungry, she relented and I was able to sit in a different area. I asked if I could fit somewhere else and she said I can sit in the lower area, which is well away. Within a couple of minutes, this lady and her daughter got up and left. I thought it was very strange. Why would you complain if you're going to leave anyway? I went into Weatherspoons the next night and had a steak and stayed for quite a while. It was all as normal. What an image. Despite, he loves his Weatherspoons, this guy. Where's he getting the money, by the way?
Apparently so. It's beggars belief. I mean, Alex, he did say he goes 4 times a week, which I would argue is probably not healthy.
No, it's very healthy, Rob. Isn't it? For the lawyers?
I imagine that all of Weatherspoon's meals contain your 5 a day or something like that.
Despite being no stranger to uproar over his public nudity, Richard claims most people have no problem with his choice to be naked. Richard said, I normally wear a skirt and sweatshirt to go into a pub. If it's cold, I've got the hoodie. I prefer to wear nothing at all. If I'm out on my bike, I cycle naked. I walk naked through town if it's particularly warm. Most people aren't bothered. It's about fun, freedom. I'm just a body. I'm used to being naked in public as I've been a naturist for 40 years. For 2 years, I've been cycling in Hastings naked, and everybody accepts it. I'm well known. However, Richard said he has had the police called on him twice over the years for being naked outside pubs, and was even wrongly arrested in May this year by an off-duty police officer before being de-arrested. Richard says guidelines by the College of Policing explain it is not an offence to be naked in public unless a person is doing so as an intent to cause harm and distress. I did not know that.
No, I didn't know that, no.
But the naturist wants to take it further. And he says he'll be writing to the Equalities Commission to get naturism formally recognised under a, in quotes, philosophical belief. Richard said many naturists would argue that naturism constitutes a philosophical belief under the Equalities Act 2010. It should be the same legal protection as any other protected characteristic.
No, it shouldn't.
He's going, no, Rob, stop discriminating. Stop it.
Right.
He says, don't go complaining, discriminating, or committing a hate crime. I don't wear pants ever, not for you. So,
please just say that last sentence was not for you, not for anyone.
Yeah, I don't wear pants ever, not for you, not for anyone. We all have a bottom, and they all look the same. Get over it.
I don't think you do. I imagine yours is a lot saggier than mine is.
I feel in another life, Jeremy Corbyn could have been a naturist, and he would have been equally as. Do you know he's that sort of guy? Because he doesn't back down over anything. He could be this guy. Anyway,
I can easily imagine him sitting naked in Parliament. Well, if he was still an MP.
Oh God, yeah. A Weatherspoon spokesman said, in accordance with our dress policy, we ask all customers to dress appropriately and more specifically in a way which would not cause offence to employees or other customers. The pub's management quite rightly did not consider that Mr. Collins was dressed in such a manner. We do not consider there's been any breach of the Equality Act. Yeah.
Alex, what I'm amazed to see is that Weatherspoons apparently have a dress code. That's quite astonishing.
Right, we've got to go through some of the comments, Rob. Shobshak says, I recently joined a nudist colony. The first few days were the hardest.
Lovely.
Yeah, very good. Indian Larry says, that put me off my toad in the hole. Andy 53 says,
Alex, what's his name? Indian Larry?
Indian Larry, which I love, yeah. Rob, do you remember? Okay. Now, I know there's an age gap between us, right? In the days of... So when you're thinking about like Spectrums, Commodore 64s, Amiga, things you'd load up on sort of cassettes or very rudimentary discs.
Yes.
There was a very strange game called Leisure Suit Larry.
Yes, I am aware of this. Also, didn't have quite a sexual element to it.
And you could sort of piss on the wall and shit like that. It was really ahead of its time. And as a kid, it was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. I can't say I ever played it, but I am aware of it. Why?
Why did I mention it? I don't know, something about Indian Larry then reminded me of Leisure Suit Larry. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Right, okay.
Andy 53 says, he's nothing but a dirty perv. People would have come in after him and sat on that seat. As far as I'm concerned, he's a flasher, nothing else. He doesn't look the cleanest of people. Well done, the manager. I hope he's banned and placed on Pub Watch. Do you know what Pub Watch is, Rob?
Yeah, Pub Watch is a scheme run by pubs in a local area that basically, I think, shares information about wrong-uns in the area.
Right.
And people, and those have been banned, as far as I'm aware, anyway.
Okay. Barrion says, there are a lot of peculiar people in society who think it's okay to impose their views on everyone else. They need to learn by whatever means that it takes that it's not okay to do this. We could just skip over that, Rob. Can we just go over that comment? There are a lot of peculiar people in society who think it's okay to impose their views on everyone else. So that is quite a general... I mean, that could incorporate people of different religions, different faiths, different sexualities, different belief systems, couldn't it? It could incorporate a whole wider people. And they then go on to say they then need to learn by whatever means that it takes that it's not okay to do this. By whatever, is that suggesting that because by whatever means it takes would suggest that this person's a Nazi.
Yeah, they're asking for extreme violence. I think that's the sinister undertone there. Yeah.
Okay, Rob, do you have a story for us there?
Yeah, this is it's a bit lengthy, but I think it was worth looking at. So this is from ABC News, which is obviously the Australian broadcasting company. It is from the 16th October.
Hang on a minute. No, it's not Australian. ABC are American.
No, but this is the Australian broadcasting company.
Oh, right. Who are also called ABC. Don't Disney have
also called ABC.
Have a trademark on that? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm thinking of NBC. No, there is an ABC as well, isn't there? Is there?
There is an ABC in the US. Yeah, there is. Yeah, yeah. But this is definitely Australia.
All right.
The story is by Meg Powell, and the headline is Tasmania's big potato toppled in high winds, but family of Premier vows icon to return after makeover. It's a long headline.
I love the phrase Tasmania's big potato.
Yes. So what I've discovered this week is apparently Australia has, a lot like the US, has a habit of basically creating big things that then become like tourist attractions.
Right.
Don't know if you're aware of that. So in this case, we're talking about a giant potato.
Maybe the man we just covered. I mean, he could. Why doesn't he look? If he could just become a tourist attraction. We could stick him up some sort of hill in Wales, and he could just sit there with his bollocks out, and people could go and see him. You know, the hairy bollock.
No, is
Ben Nevis or something.
No one. And also, let's face it, I think they need to call. I mean, do you know what? That's really pure art. I'm not going to cast any aspersions on the size of his manhood. A giant of Tasmanian pop culture has tumbled from its lofty position above a highway. So Kenny, the Kennebec potato, a fiberglass and cement sculpture, has been greeting visitors on the Bass Highway from the top of a pole in the rural community of Sassafras 40 years.
Hang on.
Any comments before I move on?
Yeah, you and me tend to think the same. Who thought it was a good idea to shove a great big potato sculpture on a pole above a highway? That seems destined for problems.
Yes, that's a good point. It was created by some locals in the community who made it. Made Kenny.
Okay, did they make it to worship it? Are they kind of simple folk?
No, they just they did it as a promotional stunt, basically.
To promote what?
So they're potato farmers. Yeah.
I imagine potato farmers, that runs in the family, doesn't it? If you're a potato farmer, that's a sort of generational thing. My dad was a potato farmer, his dad before him, his dad before him, his dad before him. And
yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's difficult to get out of the potato game. Alex,
they marry
what I've been led to believe.
They pick out the healthiest, biggest one, and they marry it, and they make love to it.
I thought you said they were married. I thought you were going to say that they marry into like a crisp dynasty, for instance, and then
they might do. They do that on the front, but behind they have a secret potato wife. Rob, can I just say,
just shoving up their ass?
Secret potato wife. It's a great phrase that I've just got.
Yes, it is.
That should be the episode title.
I think that's the episode title. Yeah. Unfortunately, Alex, after a string of tragic events, the supersized spud has fallen down. A truck backed into the pole about 2 or 3 weeks ago and weakened it, retired farmer and Kenny's maker, Rick Rockcliffe, explained.
Right, now, hang on. Whoa, that truck backing into it, is that a rival group of potato farmers or people from a Christian?
It's a good question.
With some sabotage going on there. It could be, Rob.
More than possibly. Yeah, more than possibly, Alex. Other things have happened to it, which we'll come on to. Okay. So the strong wind over the weekend finished the job off, but it's always solidly built. So it's very superficially damaged, which is good to know. So we've taken it back home to restore it. However, the big spud might be the county's second largest potato, but it's possible that the giant potato at Robertson in New South Wales was voted the worst big thing. So what they're saying is there was a bigger potato. This is only the second biggest potato. But apparently the big potato in Robertson was voted the worst thing in the US, in Australia.
Right.
So there you go. So moving on. A farmer from the heart of Tasmania's vegetable region, Mr. Rockcliffe said Kenny had started as an advertising gimmick in the early 1980s. The family had a small business at the time selling potatoes from the side of the road from a wagon, from the back of a covered wagon like the Wild West.
Right.
Because, of course.
I told you it was an advertiser. I knew, yeah, it had to be.
Had to be, yeah. So Mr. Rockcliffe said he had chosen a good one from his farm, so a good potato that is, cut into sections and then built a scale model in his workshop out of wire mesh, cement and fiberglass with the help of a couple of mates. So this is him of actually making Kenny. However, it's not the end of the road for Kenny, who has currently been giving a makeover. Mr. Rockcliffe flagged potential difficulties in returning him to his position. The biggest problem today we face is bureaucracy. Because, of course. However, a council spokesman said approval would not be required.
Hang on. Does bureaucracy mean we're not sure that it's safe to have this huge potato hovering over a highway? Is that what he means by bureaucracy, red tape?
It might be. Although a council spokesman said that apparently approval would not be required for an existing structure unless significant changes were made. And then, for some reason, in the rest of the article, there are a lot of memes of Kenny falling from his plinth. There's one of him at the fall of the Berlin Wall. There's one of him part of Stonehenge. Yeah, very, very, very bizarre. I'm sure I also read, I must have missed it, but apparently...
I'm looking, I need to contextualise this. Okay, because you haven't described it well for the listeners. Bloody hell, it is huge.
Oh, I haven't described it at all, no. It is big.
I wouldn't know that's a potato if I saw it. It could be anything, could be an egg, could be anything. It looks like it's made of stone. It's very weathered and everything else, but he's got sort of a very weird face. Looks like something from days gone by, and he's wearing a top hat.
Yes, that's correct. Kenny, the Kennebec potato.
Okay, Rob, it's time for the listener story of the week, but I understand it's more complicated than that this week, Rob, is it?
Yeah, I'm going off piste, I'll be honest. So this was sent in by Steve. It's from The Independent, and I was reading through the story and realised that there was a link to another story at the bottom, which I think we also need to delve into. So let's focus on the actual story that Steve submitted for the moment. So this was from the 16th of November. It's by Chris Wilson from The Independent, as I said, and the headline is, Horse breaks loose on plane and forces flight to turn back to JFK.
This is interesting, Rob, because I have this I originally had it in my original kind of show notes to cover this story.
Oh, okay.
So you've kind of helped me out because I can now remove, Rob, that story, and I haven't read it properly, so you can cover it. Who submitted this?
Steve.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
So, a flight had to be diverted back to its original airport after the horse became loose in the cargo hold.
There's a horse loose.
I'd love to know how that. The incident, which happened shortly after takeoff from New York's JFK Airport, forced a Boeing 747 to turn back from Boston. The flight, operated by specialist charter airline Air Atlanta Icelandic, had been bound for Liège? I don't know how to pronounce that. It's in Belgium. Liège.
Yes, Rob, hang on a minute. For once, I knew something you didn't, geography-wise. Come on.
Alex, I mean, first of all, congratulations.
This will be a day long remembered, Rob.
Of course. I mean, does anyone really care about Belgium? I'm going to put it out there.
Oh, okay.
So, a reconstruction of the incident uploaded to YouTube on a channel named You Can See ATC, the information which cannot be independently verified, claims the incident on flight number CC4592 happened shortly after 4:06 local time.
This happened, as far as I know. It's been reported in lots of places. Yeah, there was a horse on the plane.
I believe it does, yeah. I don't know, but I don't know where this YouTube channel has got the information from. It adds that the pilot reported the incident, the horse getting loose around 31,000 feet, requesting that they allowed to return to New York as the crew were unable to get the horse secured. The pilot landed back in JFK after dumping 20 tons of fuel.
Why didn't they dump the horse? Why didn't they dump the horse? Who comes first, my holiday or the horse? Just fling it out. Can you imagine?
Just open the door, push it out.
Can you imagine the investigation that would happen after the damage that would cause as well? Like, what led you to... Well, I don't know, but you know what, Rob? It's not an easy situation for anybody to be in.
No, Alex, you need to think in terms of a decomposing whale. I mean, that's going to explode, but I imagine that a horse dropped out of a plane for 31,000 feet is going to leave quite a significant mark on your pavement.
Yes.
They also requested the help of a veterinarian as the horse was described as being in difficulty, though it's not clear what happened to the horse.
So would you have it like, you know that thing, screaming out, is anybody on board a doctor? Would it have been, is anyone on board a veterinarian? Or, what's an equestrian, Rob?
Well, a question is it just, I think it's someone who works and rides horses, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, so you'd ask for either of those, I think.
Well, what I'm wondering is, if this is a specially chartered flight, I wonder if they were just transporting the horse, but surely you wouldn't charter an entire plane just for one horse.
I understand there are very wealthy people, Rob, who really just like to burn their money on shit, but transporting a horse?
Alex, was this a horse sex plane? Is this how the rich get their kicks these days? They get a glass of champagne when they get on board, and then they get introduced to their horse of choice. Is that how this works?
It's like Epstein's jet was, allegedly.
Exactly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
What was it called? It was called something, wasn't it?
Well, the airline is called Air Atlanta Icelandic.
No, Epstein's jet.
Oh, I don't know.
Hang on.
I don't know.
The Lolita Express. So we would call this the...
Sorry, hang on.
No, it was derisively called it by certain media outlets. He didn't say, I'm abusing underage girls' airlines. No. So but what would we call this then? I don't know.
The no, it doesn't work. The My Little Pony High Club. Does that work?
The Horse Titty Fun Ride.
I mean, that's more the nose, but yeah, okay. Anyway, look,
Horse Titty Fun Ride is a good episode. So we'll get it printed on t-shirts and we'll get it out there as merchandise.
Absolutely. But
it's the last Beatles song, by the way, as well, Rob. So don't mock it. Horse Titty Fun Ride.
No.
It's during their Yellow Submarine days.
They were doing a lot of drugs and apparently having sex with a lot of animals. As often happens with this kind of story, obviously they link to related stories, and it's the latest story that then piqued my interest. So this is also from The Independent, from the 17th of October, by Travel Desk. Strange name. But the headline is, Flight Diverted After Adult Nappy in Plane Toilet Mistaken for Bomb.
Do you know what then, Rob? Rob, if we're going to do this, can you just hold that and alternate? Because we might as well just get it out of the way on this episode if we're going to do this. You've just mentioned a plane story. I had that story, yes. And I had another story about a plane to associate with it. You're about to do another story about a plane. So can I just tell you this and then you do that? They're only short, but...
Okay, fine.
NPR, Emily Olsen, 10th of November, crew aboard a US-bound plane discovered a missing window pane at 13,000 feet.
Sorry, I'm missing... Have they been looking for it prior to this point? Have they not noticed that there was apparently people being sucked out a window?
Found that window pane in the toilet, Bob.
Oh, that's why it's been so drafty in here.
Yeah. A US-bound plane took off from London last month with 4 damaged window panes, including 2 that were completely missing. Can you imagine you're on that window seat and you sat there and you're like, well, I feel a bit of a chill.
Can you just imagine if when the cabin crew, Phil, did there used to be a door there at one point?
No one was injured by the window malfunctions, which is a nice way of putting it. They didn't malfunction, they weren't there.
Sorry, am I missing something here? I mean, the cabin's pressurised. Have I missed something?
Yeah, I thought it was critical to have, yeah. They appear to have been caused by high-power lights used in a film shoot. So what? So they just broke the light.
What?
So as they moved around the lights, they just busted out the window and nobody noticed. Nobody thought to say anything. Yeah, don't mention it, mate. The aircraft departed from London's Stansted Airport, Stansted, on the morning of October the 4th, carrying 11 crew members and 9 passengers, all of whom were employees of the tour company or the aircraft's operating company, the report states, without elaborating on who the tour company was. Maybe, Rob, they were part of the horse titty fun ride express thing.
Quite possibly.
The single.
I mean, I don't want to cast aspersions, but I will say that Ryanair's headquarters is at Stansted. Just want to throw it in there. Not related to the story. Just want to put that in there.
The single-aisle aircraft, an Airbus A321. Don't get excited, Rob. Although, no, you're trained. Sorry, I forgot. Can seat more than 100.
I do enjoy a plane.
Can seat more than 170 passengers, but the small group of passengers were all seated in the middle of the cabin, just ahead of the overwing exits. The missing windows weren't discovered until the plane was at an altitude of 13,000 feet. Several passengers recalled that after takeout, the aircraft cabin seemed noisier and colder than they were used to. A crew member walked towards the back of the aircraft where he spotted a windowsill flapping on the left side. The window pane appeared to have slipped down. He described the cabin noise as loud enough to damage your hearing. As the plane approached 14,000 feet, the pilots reduced speed and slowed their ascent. An engineer and co-pilot went back to take a look at the window. Yep, it's not there, and agreed the aircraft should turn around immediately. It landed safely back at Stansted after 36 minutes of total flying time. During which time the plane had remained pressurized normally. How, Rob?
I don't understand. I mean, is there two sections? Like windows or something? I don't understand.
Yeah. Hang on. The windows may have been damaged by high-power floodlights used during filming the day before. The lights, which were intended to give the illusion of a sunrise, were placed 20 to 30 feet from the aircraft, shining first on the right and then the left side of the craft for 9 hours in total. A foam liner had melted away from one of the windows, and several window panes appeared to have been warped by the thermal heat. So, God, there you go, Rob. I mean, I would hope that the windows were robust enough to withstand things like heat, considering they're in the air. And they have the sun, which is infinitely more powerful than these lights beaming down on it.
So was this plane made out of cardboard or something? I mean, what? This is ridiculous.
It's good to know, Rob, that aviation experts maintain the risk of being injured or killed in such a scenario is still rare. But
that's good to know.
And there's a linked article for a question: how dangerous is a cracked cockpit windshield? When is it most likely to happen? I'd be perturbed if I knew the cockpit windshield was cracked.
Yeah.
And I'd be straight on the phone, Rob, to Autoglass, who this week sponsor LAPodcast.
Nice.
Rob, you've now got a related plane story for us, and then we're finished. It's over.
Yeah. So, once again, the headline for this story is Flight Diverted After Adult Nappy in Plane Toilet Mistaken for Bomb. So, a recent Florida-bound flight diverted when an adult nappy...
Well, I guess it was of a sort. Right?
Yeah, I agree with that, Alex, yeah. Again, I know that people have to wear them. And I don't think anyone wearing an adult nappy through choice.
Yeah, through choice. Yeah. No, Rob, there are some people wearing them through choice. Perverts, Rob. But a lot of people won't. But some people are into all that.
I bet that nudist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I bet that nudist.
No, Rob, he won't. He won't do it. He doesn't wear pants. He won't wear pants for anyone.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. So, a recent Florida-bound flight diverted with an adult nappy in the onboard toilet was mistaken for a bomb. The Copper Airlines CM393 service had departed Panama City for Tampa on the morning of Friday the 13th. Oh, that's why. On Friday the 13th of October, when the decision was made by cabin crew to turn back to the airport of origin. Panama's National Police shared details of the mistake on X, formerly Twitter, posting, the Special Forces unit activated the emergency protocol and verified it turned out to be an adult nappy diaper. Just imagine, you're in Special Forces, you think, oh, this sounds juicy, I'm going to really get stuck in here, and you find out you're just investigating a shitty nappy.
Yeah, yeah, but Rob, I don't know. I still think that'd be a cool job.
True. I mean, look. I have to say, they have shared pictures of the diaper, and it does look like it hasn't been soiled. So that's a blessing.
Okay, hang on. Adult nappy bomb. Adult nappy bomb. There we go. Sorry. I'm just looking at the picture of this. So why would somebody mistake that for a bomb? It looks like an adult nappy. What do you...
I think... Can you see the black bag underneath it?
Oh, I see.
I imagine they'd obviously wrapped it in that and just dropped it in the toilet.
Okay, so let's think about this. Yeah, if I go... Okay, you're not meant to put things in airline toilets, Rob. If I go into an airline toilet and I see a suspicious sort of black package, I would report it. And the thing is, I would know that procedure would dictate they're just going to have to land the plane, aren't they? I mean, even though... do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. It would piss me off. I'd be... Yeah, it would...
Let's be under no illusion, Alex. I think if you saw that and didn't know what it was, I mean, and you if there's any suspicion it might have been a bomb, that would have been terrifying.
On a plane, yeah. Anywhere else, I'd think, well, at least I can try and get away from the situation. You know, if I'm not like a ship or anything else like that. Yeah, you're right. I do see that, and it was very insensitive and stupid of whoever left it there not to think that somebody might interpret it as that.
I mean, it's obviously embarrassing.
You know, I've told you the story about my friends and the bomb squad, haven't I, before? When I was growing up, I'm sure I have. I had two friends who were brothers. They're still friends of mine, but their father got, you know, he worked in politics. Let's just put it like that. And he had a briefcase, and one morning he heard ticking from the briefcase, tick from the briefcase, and the bomb squad had to come and do a controlled demolition and everything like that. But it turned out that it was just the alarm clock he'd left in his briefcase that he'd forgotten about.
I think you have told that, but I still love this. It's still a great story.
I'm sure I've got some of the details wrong, but that's you know, I remember that vividly.
Brilliant.
Well, that brings us to the end, Rob. It's almost a sad ending, really, because it's been such a good episode, as all of them have been recently. Not to say they weren't before that, but this is episode... What episode is this, Rob? 417 that we're bringing to a close. So it'll be 418 next week. We're on the website, LAPodcast.net. I don't know how many of you visit that, because it's really just a storage facility for all of our episodes if you want to download them manually and keep them in case there is some kind of horrific apocalypse whereby you can't download the episodes anymore. And I'm sure that will be your first concern, the local anaesthetic episodes. But I do love the idea, Rob, if humanity was wiped out and like only our podcast remained. In the 417 episodes we did, would they be able to piece together some rudimentary understanding of human history? They would think that it would. I'm not sure. You would. I don't know. Have we mentioned key fundamental? I think we've mentioned like certain religious things. I'm not sure. Did we ever mention? We could go rattle through them now. Did we ever mention the discovery of gravity or anything like that? I'm not sure. I don't think we did.
I don't think you could stay any sort of. I wouldn't use this podcast to form any sort of stable society. No, not the slightest. I think it would crumble quite quickly.
And we have encouraged people, if you're listening, please do send us your stories. I know everyone's busy, but there will be times where you see that odd story, and we do enjoy hearing from you. Rob, have we got a listener story special coming up or not?
It might be worth doing, actually, Alex. Yeah,
maybe in the new year.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Maybe do it for the new year would be nice. But I do understand, though, with listener stories, and we were always aware of this, Rob and I, that this is our podcast and you give us a responsibility of finding the stories. We get that you don't work for us, and I love looking for stories every week. Do leave us a review, do hit subscribe. There's a PayPal button in our top right hand corner if you want to leave us a tip. We would really appreciate that. You do get something in return for that tip. In fact, you get a lot, because you get 40 plus episodes of a bonus podcast we did called LA Podcast and Extra Jab, and those episodes were thrilling, to say the least. And we'll be back in a week's time with episode 418. I've enjoyed your company. Thank you for listening. God bless.
And keep it local.